Well, hello there, everyday Americans. Paul Engel here with the Constitution Study, where we read and study the Constitution and teach the rising generation to be free. I'm glad you could join me. As always, head over to the website, constitutionstudy.com. That's where you'll find everything Constitution Study. I've got some feedback coming in. Let me mute my other. There we go. That's better. As I was saying, head over to the website, constitutionstudy.com. That's where you'll find everything I have related to the Constitution Study. I have some interesting stuff coming on. Next week, I am going to be up in Bismarck, North Dakota. That's right, I'm teaching 200 middle school, high school students and their parents about the Constitution an entire day. We should have a great time. If you're in the area, want to join us, go to the website, constitution.com. Excuse me. You can go to constitutionstudy.com/ND2020. That's ND is in North Dakota 2020, because that's the year. And you can sign up for that. If you'd like me to come speak to one of your events, one of your groups, just go to the website under events, click request a speaker or speaking request, and fill out a small form, and we'll see if we can make it, maybe in person. Maybe we'll do it over the internet. We'll see what we can make happen. It's a busy week. Like I said, next week I'm in North Dakota for several days. The week after that, I'm going to be wandering the floor at the expo at the National Religious Broadcasters Convention in Nashville, Tennessee. And then the end of that week, so that's the last week in February, I have a booth at the Teach Them Diligently Homeschool Conference. I believe I'm booth number 525. So if you're if you're in Nashville to the conference, if you're at the conference, stop by the booth, say hello, introduce yourself, ask questions, let me know what's going on. I will have one session I'll be speaking at. I'll be speaking on, I believe, presidential elections and the Electoral College. Of course, all that's subject to change. But as I quote from John Jay, it's important that we read and study the Constitution, that knowing our rights will sooner recognize when they're violated and will be the better prepared to defend and assert them. And that kind of gets me into what I want to talk about today. So with that, let me start my screen share. You may notice I'm using different software. I'm testing this out. It seems to be a bit more stable than what I was using before, but it's still not quite as smooth to operate as I would hope. I'm still waiting for a nice piece of software to come in and out and get pretty tech PowerPoints and stuff up, but here's where we are. So let's talk about wealth tax. And the question on today is, does Congress have the authority to tax wealth? Now, oops, sorry, missing my slide notes. That's what I'm missing here. No, I'm missing something. Where are my presenter notes are missing? And that would be bad because I need my presenter notes. There we are. Get out of the way. There we are. That's the problem. Presenter notes. There we go. Excellent. Okay. Does Congress have the authority to tax wealth? Now, if you've paid attention to the news, you'll know that Democratic candidate for President Elizabeth Warren, well, she's proposing a wealth tax. But of course, the questions never seem to be asked. Does Congress even have the authority to pass legislation? Now, I know Warren's announcement of her planned wealth tax isn't exactly new. Part of the reason I don't jump right on the bandwagon is I want to get some details first. But I did find a couple of articles explaining it, almost to the point of promoting it. So I thought it was worth asking the very first question we should all ask about any federal legislation. You see, when asked where in the Constitution the Congress was given the authority to enact the Affordable Care Act, then Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi answered, "Are you serious? Are you serious?" Well, yes, Representative Pelosi, Senator Warren, and in fact, all the members of Congress, I am serious. You see, apparently, unlike most of Congress, I support the supreme law of the land, the U.S. Constitution. And I hold those I elect accountable to their oath to support the Constitution. They are elected to represent me. They work for me and my fellow citizens, and they take an oath. They swear or affirm to support the U.S. Constitution. So I think that's rather important that they actually do it. Now, on one article that I found on Vox, Senator Warren's proposed tax was compared to a property tax. Now, most Americans currently pay property taxes to their local government, a form of wealth tax. The majority of middle-class assets are property. Well, that's true. Most Americans, either directly or through their rent, pay taxes to the local government in the property taxes, and that's where a lot of middle-class assets are, because I hate the term middle class, it's where a lot of assets are for that bell curve section of the economy. Conveniently ignored in this article, though, is the fact that there is no restriction on direct taxation at the state level, only federal level. See, if you read Article 1 to Clause 3, you'll see representatives and direct taxes shall be apportioned among the several states, which may include within the union according to their representative numbers. See, then you go on and you read Article 1, Section 9, Clause 4, and you see no capitation or other direct tax shall be laid unless in proportion to the census or enumeration herein before directed to be taken. So it's quite plain and obvious that the federal government has no authority to directly tax the people of the United States. Well, with one exception. You see, the states ratified the 16th Amendment, which says, the Congress shall have the power to lay and collect taxes on incomes from whatever source derived without apportionment among the several states and without regard to any census or enumeration. But a wealth tax is not a tax. It's a direct tax on your assets. Now, this is described in an NPR article that I found, which read, what is a wealth tax? It is an annual tax on the net wealth of a person, the net worth a person holds. So their assets minus their debts, not just the income they bring in each year. Now, while most of this article dealt with how the wealth tax would work, would it have the desired income and would it have public support? It did not deal directly with the constitutionality of such a law. See, instead, they linked it to a series of letters from legal experts asserting that such a tax would be constitutional. Now, I suppose technically 2 constitutes a series because there were 2 letters in the linked document. And these letters, well, they use a series of judicial opinions as the basis for the rationale that such a should be constitutional. See, they claim that a wealth tax falls within Congress's power to lay and collect taxes for the common defense and general welfare of the United States. It appears these scholars seem to ignore the opinion of James Madison on the limits of Congress's power to collect money for the general welfare of the United States. Quote, if Congress can apply money indefinitely to the general welfare and are the sole supreme judge of the general welfare, they may take care of religion in their own hands. They may establish teachers in every state, country, county, and parish and pay them out of the public treasury. They may take into their own hands the education of children, establishing in like manner schools throughout the Union. They may undertake the regulation of all roads other than post roads. In short, everything from the highest object of state legislation down to the most minute object of police would be thrown under the power of Congress, for every object I have mentioned would admit the application of money and might be called, if Congress pleased, provision for the general welfare. But the question is, would a wealth tax be a capitation or a direct tax? See, a capitation tax is a tax or imposition on each head or person, like a poll tax. Now, direct tax, according to the dictionary, is a tax on real estate, houses, and land. Now, these experts claim that a wealth tax imposed on everyone based on their net worth is somehow neither a tax on each person, a capitation tax, nor a tax on real property, a direct tax. Apparently, they don't think that wealth is property. But then again, we're talking real property. But I did a little research, which I know is always scary. I did a little research on the debate over direct taxation language in the Continental Congress during the debate over the Constitution. And it shows that the idea of direct taxation was not limited to real estate. Quote, Will the people of this great community submit to the individually taxed by two different and distinct powers? Will they suffer themselves to be doubly harassed? These two concurrent powers cannot exist long together. The one will destroy the other. The general government, by paramount to, and in every respect more powerful than the state governments, the latter must give way to the former. That's Mr. George Mason. Mr. Reed said, Mr. Reed moved, I'm sorry, this was part of the debate. Mr. Reed moved to insert after the words or other direct tax. See, he was afraid that some liberty might otherwise be taken to states with a requirement by this rule of past requisitions of Congress, and that his amendment, by giving another east to the meaning, would take away the pretext. If I read this right, his concern was Congress might come up with another reason to tax people directly for reasons other than just a capitation tax. So we ought to say other direct taxes. Now, this one's rather long, but stick with me here. What are the objects of direct taxation? Will the taxes be laid on land? One gentleman has said that the United States would select out a particular object or objects and leave the rest to the states. Suppose land be the object selected by the Congress. Examine its consequences. The landholder alone would suffer by such a selection. A very considerable part of the community would escape, those whose pursuits and arts would escape. It could not possibly be estimated equally. Will the taxes be laid on poles only? Would not the landholder escape in that case? How then will it be laid? On all property? Consider the consequences. Is it possible to make a law operate alike in all the states? Is it possible that there should be sufficient intelligence in the men of Georgia to know the situation of the men in New Hampshire? Is there a precise similitude of the situation in each state? Compare the situation of the citizens in different states. Are there not 1,000 circumstances showing clearly that there will be no law that can be uniform in its operation throughout the United States? Another gentleman said that information would be had from the state laws. Is not this reversing the principles of good policy? Can a substitution of one body to 13 assemblies in a manner that requires minute and extensive local information be politic or just? They cannot know what the taxes can be. They do not know what taxes can be least oppressive to the people. The tax that may be convenient in one state may be oppressive in another state. If they vary the objects of taxation in different states, the operation must be unequal and unjust. If Congress should fix the tax on some mischievous objects, with the tendency, is it to be presumed that all governments will sometime or other exercise their powers, or else why should they possess them? Inquire into the badness of this government. What is the extent of the power of laying and collecting direct taxes? Does it not give the United States all the resources of the individual states? Does it not give an absolute control over the resources of all the states? If you give the resources of the several states to the general government, in what situation are the states? I therefore think the general government will predominate. That was Mr. Monroe, and it was a long quote, and I apologize that. But it seems quite clear that the more common definition of direct, that being an adjective meaning straight, or to pass on a straight line, is what the founding fathers were thinking when they were talking about direct taxes. They didn't want the central government, what we now call the federal government, in everyone's pocket. They didn't want them bypassing the states, didn't think they would have the intelligence to do so fairly and justly, so leave it up to the states who are closer to their people and can better apply whatever taxes are necessary. Yet none of the people who signed these two letters, did they ever reference the debate about the language, or reference what is said about it in the Federalist Papers, which wasn't a lot from what I was finding. See, in short, they seem to be the opinion of judges to allow Congress to tax whatever it wants, however it wants, whenever it wants, for whatever purpose it wants, regardless of what the Constitution says. Now, if these opinions were correct, there would have been a need for the 16th. If direct taxes were only taxes on real estate, income's not real estate, so they could have taxed it. But no, we had a 16th Amendment because in the early 20th century, leaders understood that it was unconstitutional to directly tax the people. They had to go through the states, had to apportion it to the states, so they needed an amendment to change this. Sadly, what passes for a constitutional expert apparently can't bother to read the Constitution. See, Article 6, Clause 2 says, this Constitution and the laws of the United States, which shall be made pursuant thereof, shall be the supreme law of the land. It's not the judge's opinions, because the judge's opinions are plain wrong. They don't match with the facts of the Constitution, with what the Constitution actually says. And if we go to back, one of my favorite quotes recently has been from Alexander Hamilton in Federalist 78. There is no disposition which depends on clearer principles than that every act of a delegated authority, contrary to the tenor of the commission under which it is exercised, is void. In other words, whatever the federal government does that is contrary to its commission. The Constitution is a commission of the federal government. Right? The federal government is a delegated authority. All three branches have authority. All of them come from the Constitution. The Constitution says no direct taxes unless they are apportioned to states. If Senator Warren wants to pass a wealth tax that's apportioned to the states, well, that would at least be constitutional. It may not be wise, it may not be economically sound, but it will at least be legal. And by the way, for those of you who believe that the Supreme Court is the final arbiter on the meaning of the Constitution to the contrary, from the opinion of Marbury Madison, thus the particular phraseology of the Constitution of the United States confirms and strengthens the principles supposed to be essential to all written constitutions, that a law repugnant to the Constitution is void, and that courts, as well as others, are bound by that instrument. Even the Supreme Court said anything repugnant to what the Constitution actually says. Notice it doesn't say repugnant to what the Supreme Court says the Constitution actually says. To what the Constitution says is void. It is invalid. It has no value. It's empty. See, the question is, why is nobody, either in the media or in town halls, why is nobody asking Senator Warren, where in the Constitution does Congress have the authority to impose a tax directly on the American people on anything other than income? Then again, she seems to imply that she will do this as president, because right now she's a senator. Now, a senator can't submit a bill to raise taxes, but I'm sure she could find some member of the House that agrees with her that could submit this tax. No, says she's going to do it when she's president, even though the president has no role in determining taxation except signing or vetoing the bill. Maybe if our general ignorance of the Constitution is why so many Americans, if we were to ask them if the wealth tax was constitutional, would answer, are you serious? Because it certainly seems to me like most Americans aren't serious about asking, is this constitutional or not? So I'm going to ask you to pop in. If you have any questions or comments on what I've been talking about, head over, put them in the comment section. I am ready to answering questions. It was a little short today because there's just not that much to say. A wealth tax is unconstitutional, therefore it's illegal. But since so few Americans know what the Constitution says, none of them are going to their elected officials saying, you better not even consider a wealth tax. Nobody is standing up to Ms. Warren and saying, excuse me, Senator, a wealth tax is unconstitutional. You are not allowed to directly tax the people except on income. To do so is a violation of your oath of office and proof that you are unqualified to serve. Why not? Now, granted, I haven't had a chance to meet Senator Warren. If given such an opportunity, I'd be more than happy to tell her most of the stuff I hear her talking about is unconstitutional, illegal, and a violation of her oath of office. So let's see, I'm waiting for people to see if we've got any questions showing up. I've only got a couple people watching, so I don't expect a lot of questions. Does anybody have a question about wealth tax or other direct taxation or anything else while we're at it? I mean, I'm standing here. I'm standing here rather lonely. Nobody comes down to the library to do this with me in person. So again, if people have questions, please pop them in the comment section. I will answer whatever questions I can. Otherwise, here we go. I really wish I did. I went over your earlier video today, which answered what I had. Well, so Bobby says, at least I've answered a bunch of his questions. And I'm glad to hear that, Bobby. And I'm glad to hear all of you. It's you know, a little inside baseball, right? There's I do a lot of my stuff all on my own, right? One of the reasons why I started coming down to the library was to hope to get people to come and I could interact with people, because I think that would be a little bit more interesting if I was actually interacting with people. But sometimes it gets a little, you know, am I doing anything but shouting at the wind? So thank you, Bobby, to let you know that I've answered some of your questions. If you've got other questions, hey, let me know. I am interested. I have time, so I'll take some time here to answer any other questions you might have. Is there anything, let me ask you this while I'm at it. I don't get a lot of people showing up to the live broadcast. At least according to the numbers I'm seeing, I'm not seeing very many. Is there a time or a format that would work? I've tried this software. I have it for doing my webinars. It allows me to broadcast to Facebook, and it allows me to better share applications like Keynote or PowerPoint that I'm using for the presentations, which I think look nicer, right? It's the text I had up before. Maybe my text was a little small and I need to work on that, but I'm trying to make an experience that you guys will find more engaging and more shareable. So I know I'm trying to learn it all. Well, Bobby, you know what? It takes time. You know, it's, you know, I laugh sometimes. I actually started the Constitution study back in 2014, but I actually started reading the study of the Constitution several years earlier. It was actually the John Jay quote. It was a challenge to me. And it's one of the reasons why I do this. It's one of the reasons why I love speaking to groups, why I love speaking on the internet, why I love doing this, writing the articles, doing the videos. You know, it takes a fair amount of, I'll tell you, it takes a fair amount of work, you know, to research an article, to write the article, to record the video, edit it, make it look halfway decent, and then post it. It takes a lot of time. And those of you who know me know it's been kind of crazy lately, because I've also been preparing classes that I will release probably in the second quarter of this year. I'm going to be doing some of them up in North Dakota and recording them. It takes a lot of time, but I so much enjoy talking with people and pointing them in what I think direction to read the Constitution. I was shopping, I was grocery shopping yesterday, and there's one gentleman I bump into at the store, and we got talking about the Constitution, working. And we spent about 5-10 minutes talking about different things, because he's hungry. And you know, I've got this event up in North Dakota, and I've had several people email me going, "Oh, we're so thankful. They're so hungry for information." I love hearing that, and I'm looking for opportunities to share, because people are hungry, and I think we can help feed them. And if part of it means making this live stream, great. If part of it means rather than live stream, doing something else, going back to the recorded videos full time, because I can prep them better. Okay. I'm looking kind of for feedback, and I'm looking for your feedback on how to make what I'm producing better. Yeah, I'm thrilled to go see the school kids. It's and I have to thank. There's a gentleman. He doesn't want me to give out his name. He doesn't want the recognition, but there's a gentleman up in North Dakota that has worked very, very hard to make this happen. He actually got people to sponsor. He got people to give him money to pay for my airfare, to pay for my hotel, to pay for food for the event, to buy books and stuff to give away, to rent an auditorium at the Heritage Center. This gentleman has done a lot of work, so I had the opportunity to talk to these school children. You don't have to do such a big deal. If you do, great. I love it. I am looking forward to talking to 200 kids. I'm just psyched about it. But that if you can't do that, well, that's okay. I've already had somebody else ask if I'm going to be doing another event up in North Dakota, and I'm more than happy to do that. But I had one group in Pennsylvania. They just wanted someone to talk to for 15 minutes about the Electoral College. Well, I over the internet. I got up early one morning and I broadcast about 15, 20 minutes about the Electoral College and the presidential election. And we had a great time. In fact, I had two people contact me and say, that was great. There was one lady who said she learned so much about the Electoral College, she actually changed her mind. And to me, that's what this is about, not changing minds, opening them. So, Bobby wants. So, Bobby, you're talking about getting everybody on the Facebook. Yeah, I need to know if doing it live is worth it, because right now, Bobby, I only see you watching live. That must be you, and I appreciate it, Bobby. I do appreciate people that take the time. Changing this will make it better. I have one group. I am doing a series of webinars. They actually wanted me to push it back an hour. Let me know. I'm willing to make some changes if it means getting the message out. That I might as well let you know. I'm still working on getting the book published. I've had issues with getting publishers, and I've had issues with getting. I'm going to end up self-publishing the book, and I've had issues with my cover designer and with my layout artist, and it's business, right? I got the tax man to deal with. I got businesses to deal with. I got, this to deal with while I'm developing Classroom. It's been very busy. The book is still coming. So I hope you guys are looking forward to it. I'm certainly looking forward to getting it published and being able to not only sell it, but to engage people with it, to find the opportunity. So if you know of opportunities that someplace I could send a press release, someplace that would like where I could do a brief interview, please put me in contact with them. That's my next big hurdle. Once I do the next 2 weeks where I've got the conferences and the North Dakota, it's going to be promoting the book, setting a launch date, getting the artwork done, getting the launch date set, and getting the word out so that people start to know about it. So if you can help with that, that'd be great. If you want any more information, head to the website. If you go to about contact Paul, fill out a little form and give me some information, and I'll be more than happy to follow up with you, with anybody that wants to do this. I've got a podcast I'm going to record probably tomorrow or Saturday, talking about the subject of a lot of people dismiss the importance of education, and I can kind of understand it, right? Because it's not sexy to say hey, it's going to, it's a lot of work and it's going to take decades for it to real difference. But, so hold on, that's going to be a recorded video. It'll either be coming out next Thursday or the Thursday after. I forget which. I have to record it and I don't have the schedule in front of me. And Bobby says, I'm assuming by any, you mean mostly any, assuming you mean Northeast, not Nebraska. By the way, the Northeast are my own stomping grounds. I used to live outside of Albany, New York. So if we can come up with an excuse to get me to do a tour through the Northeast, I tried to do it once. I couldn't get people to show up to an event. But if we can get people to events, I would be more than happy to do a tour through the Northeast, speaking at events. Come up there this summer and just drive around and do that. So Bobby, if you want to start working on that, I would be very happy. And I might put you in touch with some other people who have said they might be interested as well. So let's see, where are we? Well, it's been about half an hour. There aren't really any questions. I'm half rambling up here. So Bobby, unless you've got a real question, or if you want to take this offline, like I said, just contact me through the website. I would appreciate it greatly. Most of all, if you're watching this recorded and there's something that I could do to change this, that would help you watch it live. If there's a time frame that would be better, if there's a format you would like better, if there's something I can do to help make this happen, let me know. I'll see what I can do. I'm not promising I'll be able to do everything, but I will do whatever the best that I can. With that, I've pointed to Bobby several times, point everybody to the website, sign up for the newsletter. I send an update once a month with what's going on at the Constitution Study. Also, I've had a report that if you're following me on LinkedIn, yes, I'm on LinkedIn, and I know of a couple people that follow me there. If you click the link for the article in the video, they won't send you to my website. They're blocking me. The post up, but they're blocking you from going to my website. Well, you can get around that. The simple answer is if you sign up for the newsletter, there's a checkbox that says, send me your posts. And what will happen is every time I post a new message, a new article, which now is both the text and the video, it goes directly to you get a link directly in your inbox. Click the link, watch it right off the website. That's great. And the nice thing about that is if a hosting company gives me a hard time about hosting my videos, if they want to block me, if they want to shut me, fine, I'll move it somewhere else. So you can always do that. Do that. And the other thing I'm going to ask, and I don't know if it's self-serving or not, but I am going to let you know that, like I said, I do work really hard at this, and I'm really dependent on people to help spread the message, to take my articles, take my videos, send them out to others, share them with friends and family. If you have a study group, share it with your study group. If you want to find a study group, there's a spot on the website. You can look for study groups. But if you can help either by buying the book when it comes out, buying the classes, hey, sign up as an insider. I think is it $5 a month, I think? And you get access to all of my content as it comes out. That means you will get access to all of my classes as available, are automatically available to insiders. It's either $5 a month or $10 a month. I forgot. I kept changing the price on it. But it's not a lot of money, and it helps me provide this content, helps me pay for the hosting and everything else that needs to be done. Sorry about that. Apparently the Wi-Fi here every so often just likes to kick me off to make my life interesting. But if you can help, again, I greatly appreciate it. Keep in touch. If you're watching this recorded, you can still leave comments and questions. I will answer them after the fact. But if you can let me know what would make it easier for you to do this live, I'd appreciate it greatly. I'm going to wish you a great evening. Enjoy yourselves. I hope you found this interesting. I hope you found it educational, and I hope you found it worthy of coming back so I can see you again the next time on the Constitution Study. Have a great night.